welcome to my channel. In this channel, I'll be teaching you on how to make kiddies wears, different kinds of wears for your baby girls, for your daughters out there, okay? Yes, I'm going to teach you how to make beautiful Ankara gowns and skirts and blouses for your children, especially for you mother out there that don't have anything doing. Please just always be on this channel. I'll be teaching you so many things that will help you. Before you know it, you'll be a professional tailor. And for those of you that you have machine, you have the passion to sew, but because of your tight schedules, you are not able to enroll into any of the tailoring schools. This is an opportunity for you to learn how to sew. You can start learning with your children's wears. The only difference is just the measurements, okay? So now, we are going to start from the simple ones before we get to those little ones that look as if they are difficult, but they are not difficult. Alright, so today, we'll be making a simple children's A-shaped gown with a little design in the front. It's going to be lovely. I want you to stay tuned and watch this video to the end. And don't fail to subscribe to my channel and click on the notification bell for more videos, okay? Alright, now for you to make a beautiful A-shaped gown, because it's very simple. That is why I want to start with it, so that you know how to make A-shaped gown before we go to other ones. All you need to make this A-shaped gown is your fabric. This is the fabric we'll be working with. These are lining, but if the material is thick enough, you can decide not to use your lining so that the child will be comfortable when she is wearing it. And then this is the little satin that we are going to use for the little design in the front. You get your scissors, your measuring tape, your sewing chalk, and your pins and others, okay? Alright, now the measurements we are going to be working with is the gown measurements. The gown measurements, that is from the shoulder to where you want the gown length to end, the gown to stop. That is the gown length. That the measurement is 24 inches. 24 inches. I'll be working with the bust measurement, 23 inches, and the shoulder, 11 inches. Okay? You don't need the waist measurements, the hips, and all that, because it's going to be A-shaped gown. So you don't need, these are the only 3 measurements you need to make a lovely A-shaped gown. Okay? Now, I'm going to show you how to cut the material, your fabric. Now, these are fabric. For you out there that have never cut before, you don't know how to cut, from where to cut it out, and how to do it. Now, when you get your material, these are material, you fold it like this. Remember, the gown is going to have zip at the back. So when we are going to cut it, we leave zip allowance for the zip allowance, yes, at the back for the zip. So because of the zip allowance, you are not going to cut both the front side and the back side at the same time. Okay, so you cut out the gown length, you measure the gown length, see how I'm folding it, fold it like this, into 2, like this, okay, alright, make sure they are equal, okay, and then you bring the 2 edges together in order to help you to cut out the gown length for the front side, and you cut out the gown length for the back side also. Alright, now take a look at it. You now place your measurement tape from here. As I said earlier on, you measure it from here. Remember, our gown length is 24. But you are not going to cut out the exact 24. you are going to leave what we call sewing allowance, seam allowance. This allowance is to enable you to have, so that by the time you, since we are going to put lining, by the time you put the lining and turn it, the lining will not show. Rather, this fabric, you see, like an inch of this fabric will be folded inside. It will be showing under, inside the at the back of the gown. It will make your gown to look very neat and beautiful. Okay, and for that of the neck and the shoulder, by the time you sew the shoulder, you sew the neck, you discover that some inches must have gone out. So when you leave like 2 inches, it will help you to, so that by the time you finish sewing, you discover that you have the that exact 24 inches that you measured. Okay, now let's cut it out. This 24 inches our gown length plus 2 inches allowance, making it 26. Okay, cut it like this, and then cut out, separate the two like this. Remember, this very one is for the front side. We'll be cutting out the back side because of the zip allowance. Had it been you are not going to put the zip allowance, you can cut both the back and the front at the same time. Just fold and start cutting. Alright? Okay, let's cut. Alright, this is it. We have cut out the front side. Okay, now we are going to cut out the back side with that same length measurement. Fold your fabric into 2 like this. Make sure they are equal before you start measuring. And you bring your tape, measure it from this point from this point. Remember, we cut out 26 inches, that is 24 for the gown length, plus 2 sewing or seam allowance, that is 26. You do the same here. And then you open it like this and cut. Alright, now you have cut out the back, and then you drop the other ones. These are the ones you'll be working with, the front and the back side, because of the zip allowance. Remember, if not the zip allowance, you would have cut out the 2 at the same time. So you now fold this. Look at what I'm doing. You fold this into 2. Make sure they are equal. Place it on your table. Okay. Now, because the gown is not for an adult, so you reduce to save your fabric so that you don't waste your fabric. You reduce it a little like this. Fold it like this. Okay. Alright. Now, this is the back side. You now, because of the zip allowance, you measure. If you want, you can use 2 inches or 1 inch, 1.5, and so on. But I'll be working with 1.5 inches for the gown, for the zip allowance. You now measure from here 1.5 inches. You mark it 1.5, even 1/2 inch also. Maybe it's a small material that you're trying to manage. You can just put 1.5 inch so that the material will be, your fabric will be enough to get what you want. But I'm using 1.5. You mark it down. Now you connect. If you have your ruler, it's still okay. You just use your ruler to connect them. Make sure they are straight, okay? Alright. Having brought out the 1.5 inches, you use your pin, because for some of you, this may be your first time of doing this kind of a thing. So you use your pin to fold that area, that allowance, like this. Use your pin to pin it together so that it will not scatter as you are cutting. Even if you don't want to fold it like this, you can still leave it like that. And then when you place this front side, you start from that line that you marked and leave this other space. But let's do it this way. You understand it better, like this. Look at it very well. This is the back side. There's this zip allowance. And remember, if you measure the length, you have the 26 inches for the gown length, okay? Alright. Now you now bring out the second piece that you cut out. Fold it into two, like this. I'm going to use cut to this side to save your fabrics. So, okay. Please, as you are folding, make sure the front side of the fabric is inside, so that when you'll be doing your marking, it will not show on the front side. Alright, fold it like this and place it with this. Make sure they are equal. Please, make sure they are. Now, fabric is folded into 4. This is the first one, the second one, fourth. Alright, marking out this speed. You can use your pin to hold the 4 together, so that are doing first time, so that it will not, and you have a little length, because cut the rock you are sewing. Measurements, the shoulder and the armhole. We'll be using 2 inches for the length here, and also 2 from here to here. That is the depth, the neck. But for those of you that don't know how to sew before, use your tape, place it on the neck of the child. That the wideness, how wide you want it to be, how deep you want it to be, the neck to be normal. So, out 2 inches. You place it from here, please. Look at from this side, not from this side. If you do it from this side, you are going to make a big mistake. Now, you place it here and mark out 2 inches, 2.5 inches. That is for the wideness of the neck. Okay? And then from here, you also mark out. That is for the, okay? And you now curve it Remember, this is the front side, this is the front side, and this is the back side. Okay. Okay. Now, from here, the shoulder, you measure 2.5 inches also, so that by the time you finish sewing, you'll be left with 2 inches. The shoulder will not be falling out, it will not come out too much, it will just be moderate. And you measure from here, we are measuring the armhole now. From here, you measure 5 inches. 5 inches, that is the depth of the armhole. Take a straight, make it a straight line. Okay, bring this one down. The easiest, this is the okay, as I was saying, for us to get our armhole, that is the armpits, you measure from here to here, 2 inches, so that by the time you finish sewing, you have 2 inches left, so that the armpit, the shoulder will not come out very well. It will not, it will just be relaxed. Okay, it will be normal. Then you measure from here to here, that is the length for the armhole, 5 inches. Okay, and you now drag the line, make a straight line, and connect this one, make it straight. Then when you make it straight, you make a little curve like L, a kind of L, to help your armhole to be balanced, so that by the time you finish sewing, the armpit will be free. When the person wears it, it will not hang, or it will be normal. So you make this L-like shape, this shape. Make sure you do it. Okay. All right. Now we are going to measure our bust measurement. Our bust measurement is 23, and we said that 23 divided by 4 is 5.75. Okay, so let's say 6 inches. Okay, let's use 6 inches. Now this is our bust measurement, and here we are going to give an allowance, that is for the seam or sewing allowance. Okay, so sometimes, if you like, you can give 2 inches or 3 inches or 1.5 inches when you are managing the material. When it's just a small material that you want to manage and make a little A-shaped gown for your child or for anybody, you can decide to use either 1 inch, 1.5, but I prefer using 3 inches. Even 2.5 inches is still okay, huh? But let's use 3 inches. Okay, that is from here. You have, this is our measurement now, 6 inches. Okay. You measure from that 6. This is 1, 2, 3. So 3 may be too big. Let's use 2.5 inches allowance. This allowance now, this is the allowance, while this is the real measurement. Okay. Now, if you connect this 6 inches, see it here, to the downside. You want to get the shape now. It depends on how open you want the down to be. If you want the A shape to come out very well, or you want just a little A shape, it depends on what you want. But I'll be using 4 inches for it. Okay, sorry. This is the 6 inches. Okay, now this very one, you consider this with the allowance now, that is 8.5. You now trace 8.5 to this point, that is this. Okay, all right, and you measure from here, just get 4 inches. This is where we are going to get our shape, the H shape thing. It's not as if you can still draw it from here. Just say make a line, like this. If you wish, you can still, if you don't want to make it like that, you can still bring out the down measurement and then connect it from down. Okay, so let's do it this way. Remember, this is our, it's 8 inches, that is with the C allowance. So let's do it this way, 4 inches or 5 inches. Okay, let's use 5 inches. Okay, let's use 5 inches. So you now connect, listen, this is our allowance, our measurement, waist bust measurement with the allowance. Okay, so you are connecting from here now to this point. From this side. This is it. I don't want it to be too flat. So had it been I want the down to be too open, I can connect it like this and come this way. Okay, but it's just a simple A shape. So this is okay. So you can see, this is how you are going to cut it. Cut it from here like this, and then the neck. But one thing is left. We are going to cut, you know, we have cut the neck for the front side. Okay, now this is the back side. We are not going to cut this 2.5 depth for the back, because it's going to be high neck. So you now measure from here. Remember, it's 2.5 that we are using for the neck. You measure the depth, measure 1.5 inch. Okay, 1.5 inches like this. So the neck is going to be like this, the back side, while this is the front side. Have you seen why we brought out this allowance? So that you cut everything together. As you are going to fix the zip, remember to remove the 1.5 inch. Okay, see it here. So now we are going to cut. Now, as you are going to cut the armhole, you go straight and follow the L-like shape so that you get the shape very well. We are cutting both together with the back, the front and the back at the same time. Then for the neck, you don't cut the front and the back at the same time. That is why the measurement, I didn't mark the two. at the you are going to cut them separate. That is why I marked them separately. This is the back, is going to be high neck, while this is the front. So you raise it up like this and cut out the front side. Okay, now we are going to cut out the back. Wow. Now we trim the down. Okay. Look at it. It's an A-shaped gown. This is the front. Okay. Still fold it because we are going to put pockets by the two sides and put our lining. Then for the back, you now use your scissors to remove the pins. Use your scissors to cut out, open the zip allowance. This is the zip allowance, 1.5. If you open it, this is what you have. Have you seen it? Have you seen the high neck? If you mark 1 inch, you can still use 1 inch, but I prefer 1.5 for this, so that it will not be hanging on the neck. Okay? So now, we are going to cut out the lining, because we are going to use lining. We are going to cut out the lining. Okay, now remember our gown length is 24 inches. We have 26 with seam allowance. So now we are going to cut out our lining. We are not going to cut this exact 26 inches for the lining. You leave at least half inch or 1 inch. You will not cut it to down. You stop at here or 1 inch space, so that by the time you fold it after sewing, you will have something like this, and the lining will not show. So let's cut. This is my lining. I'm using black lining. You fold it, double fold it this way, because we are going to cut out the back side, the two of them at the same time. So you fold it like this. Place the fabric like this. See, this is how it's going to be. So let's reduce the lining so that we'll not waste it. Now what I was saying is this, you're not going to cut out the lining at this point. You will stop somewhere here, so that by the time you finish sewing and turning, you have a little of this folded inside this way, okay? So, or you can do it this way, get the main measurement. These are gown lengths, 24 inches. Here, these are 24 inches. Okay. So you are going to, as you are cutting your lining, you are going to stop here at this 24 inches, this exact point. This is where you stop, so that by the time you fold it, you have something like this. Okay? So yeah, for you to be sure, you can fold it this way, so that you really know what you are doing. It. So that is it. Now let's cut. This is where you are going to stop. From here, and fold it like this, so that you will get what you want. Okay, you now cut out the neck. And then open the zip allowance for the lining. So we are going to put pockets by the side, but we'll mark that after we must have finished joining the lining and the main fabric. So this is the back. going to cut the lining for the front side. You double fold the lining like this as well. Make sure they are equal. And you place the front side like this and cut. Remember to do the same thing that I told you. You measure the full gown length, get your 24, which is your gown length, 24. You mark it. Okay. So you can decide to bring it down to this point instead of cutting out that cutting out the excess. Just bring it down to this point. So that's the point of this very line, the 24 inches. So in order not to make a mistake, you can use your pin. Use your pin and join the fabric and the lining together so that it will not shift while you are cutting it out. Like this. Okay. And then cut. This is it. Now, for this shoulder, there's something that we are going to do to this shoulder. We are going to cut off ½ inch from this side. If not, after sewing it, this side will be up. It will not be relaxed. It will be standing. So you measure ½ inch from this side and not the neck side, please. Half. This is half. And mark it. Slant it like this. Okay. Together with the lining. So by the time you finish sewing, it will be relaxed. It will not be looking at you. So we are going to do the same to the back side. Make sure they are equal. Cut out again, ½ inch in a slight way. Okay. Now we are going to join this lining and this fabric together. For those of you that don't know how to do it, if you are doing it for the first time, before you start sewing, you open the lining first. Open the lining like this. Okay. This for the front side. And you open this side. Before you start sewing, this is the front side and this is the back. So before you start sewing, because you are going to sew it and turn, so you place the front side inside before sewing, so that by the time you start sewing, you sew the neck, sew the armhole, and then the down. You are not going to sew the two sides, because you are going to turn it from this side, since you are going to sew the armhole. So there's no need of, unless you are going to use bias or any other thing, or you want to fold the armhole. But it's better if you don't want to use